Time now to turn our attention to the international newspapers. Liam McGuinn has been scouring them for us. And Leah, we're going to go back to one of our top stories this Monday. That start of the Artificial Intelligence Summit here in Paris. How's that being covered in the papers?
Big news the world over, but of course, even bigger news here in France. It's on the front of many of today's dailies, including Le Figaro. They have the headline, Macron wants to revitalise Europe in the AI race. The French president, of course, co-chairing the AI summit alongside Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The core of Macron's message remains centred on the desire for France and Europe to assert themselves at a time when they're in danger of falling behind in the global technology race. A similar headline in Libération, but a much more colourful front page. The hunt for AI, faced with American and Chinese leadership, France and Europe are trying to stay in the race and regulate it. The paper tells us that the expression sustainable artificial intelligence sounds like an oxymoron, given that the large-scale deployment of AI has been accompanied by a significant increase in the consumption of resources and energy. President Macron, he's been trying to get in the spirit online. This is an Instagram post from yesterday. I'll show you the video. It's a few deep fakes of the president himself. Well played, says Emmanuel Macron. This is in the Times this morning, actually. The summit hasn't even officially got underway, but there's already been some criticism. A leaked version of the summit's draft declaration has been criticised for a lack of progress on safety commitments. One particular concern is the failure to repeat previous commitments to address the serious and catastrophic harm posed by AI models when it comes to cybersecurity, biotechnology and disinformation. One expert even says that if this omission is the final draft, it would represent negligence of an unprecedented magnitude.
Okay, so saying that it's going backwards. Let's move away from the AI summit, Leo, and ongoing coverage of the US president's claims that he has spoken regularly to his Russian counterpart.
Well, this actually comes from an exclusive interview with the New York Post that they published this weekend. They have this full two-page spread from an interview conducted with Trump on Air Force One. Trump said he's held talks with Putin with a view to ending the war and indicated that Russian negotiators were keen to meet with US counterparts. Trump also says he believes that Putin does care about the casualties on the battlefield. Trump also revealed that he has a plan to end the war. He just hasn't gone into details. He just said, I hope it's fast. Every day people are dying. The war is so bad in Ukraine. I just want to end this damn thing. Well, sticking with the Ukraine, the New York Times have this fascinating long read this morning on Stephen Hubbard, an American teacher who moved to Ukraine. Now he's in a Russian prison. 72-year-old has become an unlikely pawn in the war, they say. He was arrested shortly after the Russian invasion, accused of fighting for Ukraine. And last October, a Moscow court convicted him and sentenced him to almost 7 years in a penal colony. His case has remained fairly unknown. That is until last month, when the State Department said that Mr. Hubbard was wrongfully detained. 3 former Ukrainian prisoners of war who had held with Hubbard dispute that he ever fought for Ukraine. They also said they believe he'll die if he's not freed sometime soon. According to them, he's endured the same torture that they did, repeatedly beaten, terrorised by dogs, forced to stand all day, every day, even stripped naked for more than a month.
Okay, going to move to the UK, Leo, for your next story. It's HIV Testing Week and one politician going to new lengths to spread awareness.
Well, that man is UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, as we can see in The Guardian. He's become the very first Western Prime Minister to take a public HIV test in an effort to destigmatise testing for the virus. The importance of destigmatising getting tested can't be overstated. This article tells us that when Prince Harry publicly took a live HIV test alongside Rihanna back in 2016, the broadcast contributed to a 500% increase in the number of people requesting a test. This article, published by Sky News this morning, shows that actually there's still a long way to go, especially among heterosexual men. A study by Newfoundland Diagnostics has found that the majority of men have never tested for HIV despite having regular unprotected sex. HIV diagnosis among heterosexual men has surged by 36%. Despite that, 73% of men have never been tested. Common reasons for not getting tested include 34% believing that they're unlikely to ever contract HIV and 25% claiming that they cannot contract HIV. One doctor said this new data shows that not only is HIV not a problem of the past, but things could actually be getting worse.
Okay. Finally, Leo, we've been covering the Super Bowl. That was won, of course, by the Philadelphia Eagles. But there's also a lot of coverage for the halftime show.
Yeah, the greatest show on earth, as they call it. And sometimes it feels like the sport is a bit of a sideshow, with the halftime show taking many of the headlines. Of course, Kendrick Lamar this time, the one stealing those headlines. Deadline called the performance the virtuoso display of catching the moment that the nation wanted, a performance that included Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam and a cameo from Serena Williams. Of course, one of the central themes was Kendrick Lamar's beef with Drake, a beef that's now been elevated to the next level after Kendrick performed his diss track, Not Like Us, to hundreds of millions of people, which has been called the final nail in the coffin for Drake. Wasn't short of controversy. The New York Times telling us that one halftime performer surprised organised with a Sudan-Gaza flag. The NFL said in a statement the protester was part of a 400-member cast. Protester quickly tackled and removed by security. As for the game itself, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles stunned the Kansas City Chiefs, thrashing them 40 points to 22, denying the Chiefs a historic third consecutive Super Bowl title. And for Philly, which is a sports-mad city, the celebrations have begun in earnest. I'll show you this video that was posted on X. So that's of Broad Street, which is the main thoroughfare going through Philadelphia. People clad in green as far as the eye can see. And I think there might be a few people calling in sick on Monday morning in Philadelphia, Eve.
Okay, Liam McGuinn with our look at the international papers. Thanks indeed for that.